It was 3 o'clock in the morning. His pants were around his ankles. He wasn't the only person in the room. His wife was in bed making love to the local bishop. The bishop was a good man, but he made mistakes. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. "Open up in there or you'll be late for your flight," said the lady at the door. The bishop's phone rang. It was the church. They became suspicious when they noticed the priest's car was taken. "Don't worry," said the bishop. "I'm just out on a walk." The lady outside burst in and screamed, "How could you do this to me, Maureen?" They all broke down laughing and the director shouted, "Cut." That was the very last day of Friends, the TV show. Hello everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Hope you're doing well. How'd you get on this week? Did you get up to much? Just wanted to start off the show by saying thank you very much to everybody that's been listening. People in Ireland, people in England, and I heard as well that I've got fans in Colombia, would you believe? So big shout out to you folk. ¿Cómo estás? Any news out there? I'd love to be out in Colombia right now. Just out there in the sun, drinking Colombian cocktails, dancing to Colombian music, eating Colombian food, watching Colombian football. Oh, they do it right out there in Colombia. I've never been out there, but I have the feeling that they do it right. I have a feeling that when they get down to the beach, they do it right. There's people in shorts, bikinis, everyone's got beautiful bodies. They're dancing, they're drinking cocktails, and there's no health risks at all. That's how I feel about Colombia and the beaches down there. Must be a great place to go to. Would love to go down there, guys. So thank you very much to the 2 people in Colombia that listen to this podcast, and thank you very much to everybody else. I've got 1 fan in Trinidad and Tobago. Big shout out to you. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to guess that you're a man, because I looked at the stats. 96% men listen to this podcast. That's fine. No problem. But I will say this. Please, don't do it for me. Do it for the community. Will you spread the word to women that I'm doing a podcast? Because at the moment, it's a cockfest. And I've nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with loads of cock listening to a podcast. It's fine. But I wouldn't mind having a few more women in the mix here. So, in saying that, I'm going to start incorporating more female stuff. What is that? There's no such thing as female stuff. You not get that. You've not been watching the news for the last 10 years. Pink. That was never a woman's colour. You should be allowed to wear pink whenever you want. Man or woman. When I grew up, I had pink football boots. Best player in the village I was. And that wasn't because of the boots or the fact that they were pink. It was because I was brilliant at football. Brilliant. 3 was when I kicked my first ball. My cousins, they were over at the house and they left their ball behind them. And I said, let me give that a go. Started playing a bit. Turns out I was brilliant at football. I would have been spotted, and I still believe this very truthfully, I would have been spotted by Alex Ferguson if he had only come out to Mayo to watch me play. Travelling to Knock, I would have collected him, come down to a game, put him up in the mother's B&B. She didn't have a B&B, but I can imagine we'd know somebody and we could pretend to Alex that, that's our B&B, yeah. Just so Alex would know we had a few pound, because he's a rich Scottish bastard, that lad. But I do want to say though, thanks very much for everyone for listening to the podcast. Really do appreciate it. Trying to get up those charts. It's all about the charts, baby. And if I can get to the top of those charts, I'll be so happy. You won't know me. You will not know me. I'm going to be you'll just Monday wake up and I'll be like, brilliant. Number 1 in the bag. Brilliant. At the moment, I'm 38 in the Irish podcast charts. I'm happy with that. Thank you very much for that, guys. Appreciate it very much. I want to get to 37. Is that too much to ask? I'm not trying to be the next Michael Jordan or the next Joe Rogan, but I want to get up the ladder so I can at least see Joe's feet. That's the level I want to get to. I want to be able to look at Joe and say, "Hey Joe, what do you make of this podcast?" And he's looking down at all of us going, "Yeah, it's all right, like, but you have a long way to come till you get to my level." "Oh yeah, Joe? I didn't realise it was all about the fucking ego, mate." How did you get on this week? Did you have a good week? Did you get up to much? Did you leave the house? We're allowed to go outside a bit further nowadays, which is nice. Because it was getting to a point where everyone was cracking up. People were stuck in their houses and people were fiddling with their curtains the whole time. And those people going for spins in the car just for the sake of going for a spin. I went for a drive 3 weeks ago and I got pulled over by the guards and they said, "Where are you off to?" I said, "I don't know. I haven't a clue where I'm going." But I said, "I definitely won't get out of the car, but I'll come back as well." Don't know why I mentioned the come back part, because obviously I was coming back. I was obviously coming back to my gaff at the end of the day. That's how crazy I was getting. But thankfully now they've lifted the restrictions. People are outside again. You can go down to the shops. No one's giving you funny looks. There's people getting very close to each other now. Very close. Almost too close, I would say. I wasn't in Aldi this week because I had my shopping done already and I was too lazy to go back. But I was in a small shop down the road, convenience jab. And I went in there, pack of biscuits, some tea bags, just bits and bobs. And people were on top of each other. There was one lad on another lad's shoulders. I said, "Lads, that's going to have to fucking stop." But it's nice to see people out and about again. I went up to the Cage of Fields the other day, which is the oldest field system in the world. And that's what they'll tell you as well when you go up there. It's a great spot. And it's the oldest field structure in the world. Can you believe it? Up here in Mayo. So if you ever get a chance and you're looking for somewhere to go, I'd advise you to go to the Cage of Fields. Now, it wasn't open, so I had to make it up with my own mind anyways. And that's the thing with the Cage of Fields. It's all underneath the bog. So you have to use your own imagination anyways. So you can actually do it from home. Just imagine. Imagine this wall's been built by the first people to ever inhabit Ireland. Underneath the bog this is now. Not above the bog, underneath the bog. All those jewels that you find from the Celts. Well, these walls are under the bog. Older than the pyramids. So you can fucking put that in your pipe, Egypt. We've got older walls than you have pyramids. What do you make of that, Egypt? But unfortunately the place was closed. I think it could have been because of the coronavirus. I think it could have been because of the lockdown. It was also very windy, but it was an amazing experience. And I was looking out over the cliffs and there was a lot of seagulls down and they were just flying in and out of their little nests and cackling away. Just really making a nice racket for themselves. It actually sounded like EastEnders from a distance. But I remember looking down at the seagulls and there was a couple of crows in the mix as well, and I thought to myself, you know what, they've got their own little ecosystem going on there, their own little life. They have their ups and downs and we forget about them and they probably forget about us. But, you know, which way is right and which way is wrong? Neither way is right, neither way is wrong. But we should say, you know what, maybe they have their own problems. Maybe we need to give the seagull a break. Because I'm always giving the good times to the crows and the smaller birds. But the seagull gets awful grief, especially in the city. You can just look at the stretched head of them. Seagulls and pigeons have really let themselves go in the city. Because they're in there and among people and no manners. They'll fucking swipe a sandwich out of your hand. Just scum. But I don't think it's them that's the scum. I think it's something that they've learned. An attitude that they've learned. To be over the top, in your face. How might you know, like you go into a convenience store in Dublin. And there's nothing convenient about the prices, let me tell you that. And you get yourself a sandwich. One of those fucking Pax lunch sandwiches. I don't know how they ever made it out of the last recession. Whoever's making them wants to up their game a small bit, please. Because you'd buy them That'd be $4.95 and there'd be a breadcrumb one in the middle. Disgusting. The other one then would be ham and it'd be all dry. Then you'd have an old vegan one. And you get outside the shop. And then the first thing you'd see when you get outside the shop, a seagull standing there looking to be fed. You know, go into the fucking river and get your stuff. Go into the ocean. Like these seagulls that I was looking down at the Cagey Fields. They were all delighted to be down fishing in the water. And they were dipping into the water, bringing fish back up to their nests. Having a great time of it. Not bothering anyone. Not looking for chips off people. Not trying to steal people's sandwiches or ice creams. So that was nice to see that. And the Cagey Fields was discovered by an old man called Patrick Caulfield. Big shout out to you there, boy. Hope you're doing well. But it was nice to get outside anyways, and nice to be out in nature, because this week I didn't really do that much exercise. I was meant to do loads, but then I was looking at my to-do list and it said run today, run tomorrow, run the next day, run the day after, and I just thought to myself, run for who? Who am I running for? Who is this for? Like, is there no one out there that I need to run for? There's no marathons happening for me. There's no ultra marathons. There's no Ironmans going on. Who am I running for? The whole village looking at me when I'm out running. They don't need to see some sloppy 36-year-old man out fucking hitting tarmac. So I skipped the exercise Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I said, you know what? I found the answer. I'm doing it for me. I'm getting out there on the bypass and I'm doing it for me. And I put on the shorts, put on the runners, and off I went down the road running, waving at everyone I was. Yeah, look at me, look at what I'm doing. Why, how come you're not out running? Felt great. I did a 9-kilometre run. Not bad going now. And I'm not trying to show off, I'm not trying to say, look at me, I'm a great runner. I'm just saying, I've never ran 9k before. Well, once I ran a marathon by accident. I was coming back from the pub and I got lost. Ended up running 42k. The most I've ever ran, but since then the most I've ever ran about 5 kilometres every time. You get bored of the same 5 kilometres. So I upped the game. I said, fuck it, and you know what, I'm going to keep going. I started thinking about Dave Goggins, what would he do? And I got into my mindset, I've only got past 40%, and I stuck her into 5th gear, started cruising. That didn't really happen, but I still made it though. I still did the 9 kilometres, so that's the most important thing. But the last few kilometres, I was fucked. I looked like I was dying on the bypass. Sweating, breathing heavy, all red. Shorts had another hole in them. Socks were fucked. Runners had holes in them. I just looked like I'd after climbing out. I just looked like I climbed out from under a bridge. I looked disgusting, like perverted. I was never sweating as much as I was that day. But delighted to do it. Delighted to get out there running. It feels good, I'm not going to lie to you. It's the backwards feeling. It's like, you know when you're getting drunk and you're like, this is fucking great crack, I'm getting drunk. Then the next day you're like, oh God, why did I bother? Running is the opposite. You're out running, you're like, oh for fuck's sake, this is shit, what am I doing this for? Who's it for? After, yes, I can see the world more clearly now. Perfect. I'm more confident. And guess what I saw as well on my run? I saw a fox. A big fucking fluffy fox. And he looked so healthy. And I just stopped and looked at him and he stopped and looked at me. And just love. Pure love between me and the fox. And he skipped across the field and I kept skipping down the road and then we both turned around again. And we locked eyes again. More love. And he looked so healthy and his big old tailing on him. In saying that though, he's probably after murder a load of chickens. My father's got no time for the fox. He thinks that they're dodgy and that they can destroy families. And he blames that on the reason why his father walked out in the family. Now I don't think it's got anything to do with it, but That's his way of dealing with it. You can't talk about foxes in my house. You can talk about crows, pigeons, pine martens, badgers, horses, cats, dogs, spiders. But don't bother mentioning the fox, please, if you know it's good for you. I seen that Ryanair are back flying again. 40 quid a pop for a ticket. But in some way, them boys, they're going to make their money back. Ryanair, cute as fuck. Your man Michael O'Leary, cute is not the word. A businessman, my father'd say. Whatever he's going to do with Ryanair, he's going to get them back pumping out the flights. Guarantee it. You'll be paying 40 quid for the flight, but you'll have to pay another 20 then to use the jacks. And them scratch cards that they're selling. Give me a break, will you? Would you like to buy these scratch cards? 50% of the money. No, I don't want the scratch cards. I just want you to fucking land the plane where I'm going to, please, in Bristol. I've only been to Bristol once, but it was nice. Very entertaining, those towns. I've been to a few towns over in England over the last year and a half, I suppose. Been to Liverpool, Manchester, Cheltenham. That's it, really. But there were good spots, lively. Stuff to be done in there. There was like lots of entertaining characters knocking around. Lots of boys, you're like, what's this lad on about now? Boys you can't weigh up. There's something beautiful about that. Boys you can't weigh up. I think that's the whole beauty of America. When you see it in the media, you're like, geez, that's a character there I could never have thought of before. Just characters all over the place. But now they're back flying anyway, so you can fly out of Knock or Shannon, Dublin, wherever suits. Where would you like to go yourself? Are you going anywhere nice? Would you be going to get the tan, or are you going on the ice? Or would you go skiing? Some fella told me the other day that he was over in Georgia, of all places. I said, what do you do down there? He goes, lovely spot, lovely people. Nicest kind of people you'll ever meet. Georgia. I said, fucking hell, fair play. Fair play to you. And what's she doing down there? Teaching English she was. He said now that they're all in lockdown, no one leaving the house at all. So he's not doing a whole lot of teaching. But he said he wouldn't change it for the world, he said. He said the weather's nice, the people are nice, the food's nice. It's like the Irish food. That's what I've been told now. Take it or leave it. But if you're not going travelling, thankfully they're starting to open up the cinemas, the shops, the gym, all places that we go to for different reasons. Cinemas to go to watch movies, but it's a good place to meet people. And I went to the cinema once with a Chinese lady. Seth and herself were dating each other in Galway, and went to the cinema. Just the two of us. It was a shite film, daytime job. You know, one of those films that gets stuck on the daytime. Well, we went to the cinema anyways, just the two of us, very romantic. And popped open the jeans before the movie even started. And before you knew it, I had arrived at station. The only problem being, I had to sit like that for the rest of the movie. Hadn't really thought through. I should have waited till the end of the movie. But anyways, these things you learn from. But it's nice to have the cinemas back. Shopping malls back open. Shopping centres, whatever you want to call them. In America, they call them shopping malls. Seems like we're all turning into Americans anyway, so. Shopping malls, well, I don't know what the fuck we'll call them anymore. But they're all open and back up again, thankfully. I love walking around shops, looking at people. I think it's one of my favourite things to do. And people always say to me, you're awful nosy because you're always looking. And I'm like, yeah, just like looking. I like to see what people are buying. I like to see what people are wearing. I like to see what people are eating. And I like to see how people are acting. I don't know if it's an animalistic part of me that's... I don't know where it came from. Did it come from my father, or did it come from the town I'm from? But I love watching people. Now, I haven't been to a shopping centre in a very long time because of the lockdown. And also because I found myself buying an awful lot of shite in them. You know the way when you go into a shop sometimes and you go into Argos and you just want to buy something? Well, I went into this shop in Dublin and they were selling cushions for meditating. 25 quid a pop, I thought. And that was the cheapest cushion going. So I went in anyways. I thought to myself, fuck, 25 quid for a cushion, what would my father think? Then I said to myself, no, you know what, this cushion's for me. It's not for Dad, it's for me. So I went up to the counter and bought the cushion, got back to the gaff anyway, did a bit of meditating, nothing worked. Did it again, nothing worked. Third time, then the cushion bushed. Out popped all the ballings and I thought to myself, waste of fucking money that. Waste of money. And that's the thing with those shopping centres. They're great. They're great for people to meet up and have coffee, but it's just buying shite you don't need. And I tell you another thing I don't miss about the city. Even though I love the city, I love the crack, I love this spirit, I love the energy, I love the horniness of a city. But tell you something I don't miss about the city. The fact that you can't see the sky. You can't see up there and see the stars and the moon. You can see the moon, but you're kind of looking up and you're like, right, better keep watching what's down here in case I get run over. Or in case I accidentally walk into the pub. And then before you know it, then you're having a few scoops. A few scoops of the good stuff. So you got to be very wary. I do like looking up at the sky. I don't know about you. But ask yourself this question. When was the last time you had a good look at the sky? Even during the daytime when you see the clouds, they're weird looking fuckers, aren't they? Just up there cruising. Or even at night time you have all these stars flashing. Sparkling. Beautiful. And I often look up at the sky at night time, especially these days, because I'm worried about those two men that went up there. I don't see them. I don't hear from them. Don't know where they are. And I hope they're alright. And if they're up there in space, I hope you listen to this podcast. Because I want to be number one in the space charts. Speaking of SpaceX, I'd love to know what those two boys are doing up there. In space. While we're trying to figure out all the shit down here, there's two boys cruising around space. All thanks to Elon Musk. You have to ask yourself why he didn't go up there. Elon? Why aren't you in space, mate? Because it's too dangerous. There's too much shit up there that we don't need to be near. We were designed for Earth. What are you doing? He launched the SpaceX because he wants to reduce space transportation costs to enable the colonization of Mars. He wants to take over another planet. Now you tell me that man does not have an ego. Tell me. You think Joe Rogan's got an ego? Elon Musk wants to colonize another planet. As if it wasn't bad enough down here, Elon. Yeah. You think you're great, don't you? No offence, Elon. You seem like a nice fella. You mustn't be too bad if you're on Joe Rogan. But, and this is a big but, why do you want to colonize Mars? I get it, this place is getting packed, it's getting busy. But, if you put all that money into growing fucking herbs and vegetables and weed plants, you'd be flying it. And if you smoke enough weed, Elon, which I know you do, I saw you, you could be up there in space by. You get the right weed, you're already in space. I was in Amsterdam once, smoked a doobie. I was in space in about 2 seconds. In fairness to Amsterdam, they've got great hash. Unbelievable. That's why none of us ever need to go to space. We just need to get a flight from Knock to Amsterdam. Straight into the city. Straight up to the counter. Throw me out a notch of hash there. And the thing about Amsterdam is they have loads of it. They have loads of it. It's all in the back. Oh, do you want something to make you happy? Do you want something to make you creative? Do you want something to make you laugh? Yes. Yes, all of them. What? You heard me. Put them all in a bag. Then he puts them all in a bag. You take one toke, and before you know it, you're like, fuck it, I'm in a cafe now, and I can't walk. The power in my legs is gone. I'm in big trouble. This place is full of tall lads. Who are they? Can they be trusted? And then you come down, you're like, oh, fuck. Okay, let's go for a walk. Then you end up going into the red light district, spending 75 quid cash. And before you know it then, the family holiday's over. But the two boys in space, power to them. They've obviously given up a lot in their life. They've missed many important days down here on the earth, so therefore they're taking it very seriously. Power to them. The one day that they are missing, and it's a big shout out to these two boys as well, but mainly my father. I wanted to say to him, Happy Father's Day. It was Father's Day a few days ago, and I want to give a big shout out to all the fathers across the world. My father, Steven Seagal, Joe Rogan, Dana White, John Jones, Ryan Giggs, Dennis Irwin, Roy Keane, and last but not least, Sir Alex Ferguson. Happy Father's Day, folks. Hope you had a good one. Looking forward to many more. Father's Day is a day of honouring fatherhood and paternal bonds. A day for yourself and your father to look each other in the eye and say, how are you getting on? A day for a small bit of small talk. A day for an extra bit of small talk with your father. And it's nice. It's nice when you have a nice conversation with your old lad. Because most of the time, he won't open up to me. I had to be fucking prying away at him and he won't open up. Sometimes we'd go for walks and I'd say to him, look at all the fucking stars in the sky. And he'd just look up and he'd go, Ara, they're no good to me, son. They're no good to me. And I'd say, but they are. They're part of you. How do you mean? As in, like, they are part of you. You're from the stars, Dad. Do you not have Google, no? Hey, fucking phone, you're always on that phone. My father has a flip-up phone, by the way. And very, very bad phone. Don't know how we ever had it. Don't know how we ever dealt with a flip-up phone. They're the fucking worst phones going. Keep snapping. And the only reason why my father has that phone is because the battery lasts about 3 weeks. So he could be out in the field for days. As long as he has that phone, my mother can get in touch. And then he'd come back 3 or 4 days later, all hairy and covered in shite. Where were you gone? I was just doing a bit of fencing. My father loves being out in the fields. The amount of times I've seen him in the middle of a field, just staring off into the distance. Blankly. Everything going on around him, and him blankly staring at the sky. And I used to think, what's going on? What's so important? What's he taking? Is he taking mushrooms? But then I realised he was connecting to Mother Nature. He was having an affair on the outletty with the one woman you'd trust, Mother Nature. And he'd stand there for hours upon hours, and my mother would look out going, what's that pleb up to? But he knew what he was up to, because now people, they pay for these retreats to go meditating and pay for resorts. My father was already doing it. Boy. Do you know what someone told me the other day? Andre Agassi's father represented Iran in the 1948 and 1952 Olympics in boxing. As if it wasn't wild enough. I thought, fair enough. Agassi's old lad plays for Iran in tennis. Boxing. I wonder did he ever fight fucking McCullough? I wonder did he ever fight all the big boys? Holleran, Sheeran, Durkins. Andre Agassi's a father. And power to him on that. Hulk Hogan's a father. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's a father. My father's a father. I'm not a father. A lot of people say to me, would you ever like to have kids? And I say, I don't know. I just don't fucking know. But how do you not know? I just don't know. Don't know. But like, they'll change the way you see the world. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, if you have a kid, you can just go on, say it. Say it. You can just, it's like, you got a purpose. Oh yeah. Now the truth's coming out now and I haven't even fucking banged out a sprog yet. So you're saying that my life's not important, huh? Is that what you're saying? No, I wasn't saying that at all. I just think, you can enrich your life. Oh, can you enrich it with the babbing? Is that what they're doing now? They're enriching their lives with babbings. But I'd like to have kids. I would like to have kids eventually. I don't know when. I often think I need to get my own shit together before I start popping out any sort of kid. Because if I'm still struggling to figure out, should I stay on Netflix or should I move to Hulu, then I can't be worrying about a child. I just won't have the time. Too many things I want to do, too many podcasts I want to listen to, too many movies I want to see, too many songs I want to hear, too many sandwiches I want to eat. There's too many roads I want to walk. I don't have time for kids. Not now anyway. But down the line I would love to. 5 or 6 kids. Boys and girls. Would love that. Just putting that out there. My father sometimes he says to me, when are you having kids yourself? He'll never say it to you clearly. When are you having kids yourself? What's that, Dad? When are you having kids yourself? What? When are you having kids yourself? Like, all right. Why didn't you say that to me the first time in front of everyone as well, trying to embarrass me, are you, huh? You feel a bit embarrassed because my father's always like, well, when I was your age, I had 2 or 3 kids and, I had a nice car for myself and I had a house. And I think to myself, yeah, fair enough, like, that's great and all, but that doesn't mean that I have to, Dad. That doesn't mean that I have to follow in your path. Now I know the path that you've given to me is a wonderful path. It's a wonderful, luscious path. And I'm walking down it. And you're guiding me down the road. And sometimes you bring me the wrong way. Just to learn a lesson. Just to learn a lesson. Like when you were teaching me how to drive the car. You give out to me and you shouted at me and you said, would you fucking put it into fucking second gear, good lad? And I knew deep down you didn't want to make me cry. And I knew there was a deeper lesson. And you were giving me a deeper lesson. So you were. You were guiding me down the path of truth. Thank you, Papi. I appreciate that very much. And thankfully now they've sort of loosened up the old lockdown. So I went over to the father with 6 cans of deep river rock, whatever you call that drink, river shore. And we had a nice sup now, so we did, and I ended up staying the night, and we had a nice few drinks, so we did, yeah. And the thing about my father is, you can call him a magician because he always pulls out a bottle. Always pulls out a bottle. It could be, it's always underneath somewhere too. Could be underneath the chair he's sitting on. Could be underneath the wheel of the tractor. Could be underneath the bucket in the shed. Could be underneath the fucking stone in the middle of the field. Could be underneath the fucking attic roof. There's always a bottle to be hidden somewhere. And it's a delight when you open up that fresh bottle of poaching. Now, I'm not saying that my father has poaching. I'm not saying it. But over the years, myself and himself, we've had a drop. And it's good stuff. It's fucking good stuff because not only will it take the paint off the wall, but it will make you ramble absolute shite talk. And when you can sit down with your father and have a good ramble, that's a good Father's Day. That's better than any hug and gift. Even though my father doesn't see it that way. He always wants something. A wallet, socks, television. He always wants the next best television, whatever he does be watching on there. He says cowboy movies, but you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know what's going on after 2:30 at night on that television. And he's got 9,000 channels and he wants more. We're talking Turkish television, Indonesian television. I saw the Bangladesh soap operas on one day. Everything under the sun is on that television. Channels coming out your arse. And he wants more channels. He wants more. He wants more dancing, he said. I want more dancing on the TV. The way things are going, I'll have to fucking get on to Michael Flatley. Tell him to call over the house and do an old jig for you in the front porch. That be any good to you? Would that make me the son that you always wanted? Would it make me the son you always wanted to respect? Would it make me the man that you could now say, thank you, son. Thank you for being a friend. Because father and son, they're meant to be about shaking hands and hugging and telling each other they love each other. That's what it's meant to be about. I love you, Dad. I love you too, man. Down the bog, sharing great stories. You shouldn't need copious amounts of booze pumped into your mouth. Also, your pappy can say he loves you. But sometimes there's that wall of pain up between the two of ye. And you want to pull it down. Knock it down, boy. Now was the time to get the hammer if ever there was. Knock down that dirty big wall that you built up. And say to your pappy, I love you to bits. And if he goes for you, tell him to stop. Tell him to back away off you. That you were just revealing your true self. I was also on Google and I was looking through some ideas for Father's Day. Now I know it's past, but this is if you wanted to next year. You know, it's always good to be ahead, because the thing with Father's Day is it comes up upon you, and before you know it, you think, fuck, was it today? Because, okay, Easter, you take Easter, right? Packed with eggs, always eggs in the shops, plenty talk about it on the TV. You have Christmas, just wedged with confetti and decorations and everything else. Valentine's Day is hearts everywhere. Oh, look at the lovebirds. Oh, buy these roses off me, chocolates and all the other stuff. Father's Day. What is it? You don't know. Nobody told us what to do. So I had to go onto Google and I had to look at some Father's Day ideas. And they were shite. They were shocking bad. One of them, number 1, coffee in the morning. That's an idea for Father's Day, coffee in the morning. If I sit up and have a coffee with my father in the morning, around 10 o'clock, the two of us will be half asleep. The two of us will start arguing, because the two of us don't like mornings. So the coffee's out the window altogether. And the coffee won't help me either, because that'll make me more fucking ratty. And that's another thing I'm trying to quit, the coffee. You drink it all the time, it does nothing for you. You think, I'm getting a bit of a kick. Not really. Not really. You get more kick now in the morning if you did a couple of schwats. Number 2 was family outdoor picnic. Now, I don't know who wrote this, but I'm not going for no picnic with my family. Never. Imagine my mother, my 12 brothers, sitting around on a piece of fucking cloth in the middle of a field, eating fucking strawberries. Are you mental? Family picnic. My father wouldn't go near a picnic. Right? Yes, he's set in fields drinking cans and eating sandwiches. But as a family thing to do, no. Never. This was the next one. This is the one I liked. Kind of contradicts my earlier point. 1 pint of Guinness in the evening with your father. What do you think about that? 1 pint. Because that's the thing. I've had a drink before with my father many a time. And the first pint, there's something about that connection. There's something about it where the two of you are sitting down, there's a cheekiness in the both of you, and you're smiling over at each other, and you know that the evening is for the two of you. If you take on a bit of music, doesn't matter, put it on. Your shirt's looking well, Dad. Pass over a pint. I have a pint. That first drink is nice. It's just the freshness of it. Could be a Bulmers. Very fresh, like Sidona. And then you have 2. And then you have 3. And then before you know it, you and your dad are arguing in the smoking area of a pub. How the fuck did you lose the box of rollies? Where did you fucking lose them? That's money down the fucking drain on the box of rollies. You fucking took the box of rollies. No, you had them first. You took them off me. Did you not take them off me? I came out here to fucking have a smoke and you fucking lost them inside, child. You're an idiot of a son. So just be careful when you do go for a drink. Just have a few drinks. Don't have too many. More enjoyable. You remember the conversation. That's the way I'm trying to get anyways. And I'm trying to remember that piece of advice I took a few weeks ago. If it's in sight, it's on the mind. If I have sweets, chocolates, cake, alcohol in this house, it is gone. When I go into someone's house and they have boxes of sweets and cans left over in the press, I just don't trust them. I don't trust that they can have that kind of willpower. So for me, it has to be gone out of the house altogether. So I think the key to that one is bring 1 can with you. This is for next year now. This year's gone. Or next time you see a father, bring 1 can over each. Have the 1 can. That's plenty. Open up the pipe. Let the chat out. Oh, and the last one is this. Make a splash at the pool. I don't know who wrote these, but there's not that many pools around Mayo to go swimming in. I don't think there's any indoor pools in Mayo. There can't be. Is there any in your county? If the person has an indoor pool, they're doing very well for themselves. I'd imagine only 3 or 4 people in Ireland have an indoor pool. Inya, Bono and Tuberty. But make a splash around the pool for Father's Day. That's what it said. Not going to happen. Not with me and my father. I'll tell you one thing. I went swimming with my father before in a community centre pool. Just myself and himself. And we went in swimming anyways into the swimming pool. And then we said, do you want to head into the sauna? So myself and himself headed into the sauna. And some lad walked in. I believe he was Croatian. And he walked in and he had nothing on. So it was a strange predicament for myself and my father to be into, because he didn't know where to look. He hadn't spent so much time in saunas. I had spent a bit more time in saunas in my Galway days. But anytime you see a penis in the sauna, it's always a bit of a red flag. Because you're a bit too relaxed there, buddy. I appreciate that you're confident enough to show us your penis. There's a confidence in that, there is. But there's also a small bit of an arrogance. And on top of that, me and my father have to fucking drive home together after this. And that'll surely come up in the front seat of the car. Pardon the pun. So, I do not like people walking into saunas completely naked, man or woman. And they love that kind of stuff in Poland. And I love Poland, but they love that kind of stuff. I was in a jacuzzi before with a few mates not a jacuzzi, I was in a sauna before in Poznan, in Poland. Myself and a few boys. And the room was covered in steam. Some lad walked in and he was about 6'5". Polish man. Very muscular. Not a bean of clothes on him. Not a stitch. Clean as a whistle. Just his big Polish knob there in front of you. And you just thought to yourself, yeah, fair enough, you're confident. But don't be showing me that. Right there in my eyeline too. Right there in my eyeline. A big old bell on him as well. And I just thought, no. Get rid of it. But anyways, back to the outlet. Myself and my father, we were hanging out there in the sauna. This Croatian man walked in. He wasn't that muscular. He had the whole lot hanging out. He's about 65 years of age. Big old saggy balls on him. And I hate to say it, but that's exactly what happened. So my father just looked at me and he goes, we get out here? And the two of us left the sauna, went back swimming. And then we went for a bag of chips after. It was nice. It was nice. The chips were nice. And that was a nice bond up, I suppose, more than anything. Something to laugh about. But I do want to say this. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. It's a hard job. I can see it's a hard job. I understand. It's a hard job. from a distance, when I see a man trying to put a nappy onto a child, or when I see a man pushing a pram, or when I see a man power walking with a child, it's tough work. It's tough work for men and women. Tough work for everyone. Even the child is tough work. Trying to fucking figure out what's going on. I hope you had a good one. And I hope you had a good look in the mirror and said to yourself, I'm doing my best. And then you started bobbing and weaving and you just went, sa, 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 sa. And then you start fucking throwing a lot of fucking jabs into the mirror. Because, let's face it, men can't look at themselves for too long before they start throwing jabs. By the way, can I ask you this? What do you call your father? Sometimes I meet people and they call their father by their first name, and that fucking gives me the willies. You know when you see father and son hanging out, and it's like, how are you, Kevin? Come here, what's the crack at yourself, eh? Not too bad now, Mihal, not too bad at all, yeah. I'm like, who's he talking to there? That's my father. Why you call him by his first name? Call him father, call him pappy, call him the owl lad. What do you call your father? Dad? Daddy? Daddy's a bit kinky. I think that word has been taken away from us altogether. Now, folks, this is the part of the show where I do a bit of correspondence. So if you've anything you ever want to ever get off your chest, ever, please get in touch. Because I love hearing from you. It connects me to you. Hopefully it connects you to me. And then next time we do end up meeting, and trust me, we will meet. Whether you like it or not, we'll meet. Because I'd be driving around Ireland a fair bit. And you've probably seen me in the car. I could have beeped at you. Could have waved at you. Depending on the day. But we will come across each other at some point. That's not a threat. Not one bit is that a threat. I want the best for you and I hope you want the best for me. I want to thank you for sending in your correspondence. Here's something that really chaps my arse, says Jimmy. These radio ads about water shortage and it's pissing rain for the last 2 weeks. Jimmy, you're preaching to the choir. I don't know how those weather people are getting paid. How are they getting money? How is it that you can go on your phone, look at the weather for the week. Tomorrow it's going to be sunny, the day after rain. Okay, I can deal with that. Next day it's fucking rain, the day after that it's sunny. You're getting soaked when you're not meant to be getting soaked. You're getting a tan when you're not meant to be getting a tan. What is it? These weather people haven't a clue. And no one cares. But back in the day, I suppose, they would have had dogs and foxes and birds and they could tell by the sound of nature. And now we've got someone in a suit saying it's going to be raining next Tuesday. And it isn't. It isn't raining. It wasn't raining on Tuesday. Oh, sorry, Jamie. You brought the worst out of me, Jamie. Sorry, I apologise. I don't know what they're on about. The hose pipe ban. It's as if the government don't want us having fun. It's as if when it does get anyway sunny at all, they're like, right, well, you can't make tea. You can't have a bath. You can't water the dog. You can't drink out of the tap out of the back of the house. You can't hose down your auntie and uncle if they call over. Whatever. You can't do any of those things. You just have to imagine them now because they brought in the hosepipe ban and it raining so much. But you know, that reminds me of Jamie. It's a bit like this world recession they keep talking about. The world's going to go into a recession. No more money. My mother says to me, well, someone has it. And she's fucking right too. Someone has it. And it's the same with the water. Someone has it. So why are you banning it? Who's taking it? Who's taking the water away, Leo? You probably sold that off as well, did you? Gave it to the Norwegians as a present for Christmas, did you, Leo? And we're surrounded by water. That's the next thing. And I know you need different sort of councils and stuff like that to pump the water into each town and village. But back in the day, my great-great-grandfather and your great-great-grandfather, they would have went out and looked for it. And the great-great-grandmother, okay? She would have went out too. They both would have went out together as a loving couple, looking for water, and they would have found it. My father can spot water from 2 yards away. I promise you, if you're looking for water in your neighbourhood, give him a call. And that's I don't know what it is. He calls it a sense, but I don't know what sense that is. But he can point to the land, he can point straight to the land, and he can point to a patch of grass that's greener than normal, and he can see the water. So, Jamie, to answer your question, or I don't even know if it was a question, it was a statement, I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Now, moving on to the next bit of correspondence I got. It's from a man called Eric. How are you, Eric? How are you getting on? How's tricks, Eric? Hope you're doing well. What's up, man? Firstly, just want to say your podcast is the greatest and the best podcast you've ever made. It's brilliant. Okay, he didn't really say most of that, but he said the first part of that sentence. Just want to say. Secondly, just wondering what the crack is with the Dublin show that got cancelled due to the COVID. Well, Eric, what I'll have to say to you now is this. They will be going ahead, those gigs. Once the restrictions are lifted, the gigs will be going ahead. We'll get back together. And I'd love to share a pint with you, Eric. I really would. Because it's been too long now. And that's it's not big on the scale, I suppose, of things in life, but it was nice to be out and about meeting people. It was nice to be driving into Limerick and driving as far as Ballinasloe and up to the corners of Donegal and down to the middle of Cavan. And then touching on the border of Cork, fiddling with the corners of Kerry, cruising down the bypass of Tip, crossing into the Monaghan tough dudes. Don't forget the Roscommon boys, they are tough. And then down as far as Mayo again, doing laps of the country. And it was great fun getting to meet the nicest people in the world, hugging people, kissing people, making love to people. Nothing like it. But then they put a ban on that too, didn't they? Can't go near anyone. Can't be around people. You can't even get in fucking shaking hand distance. But when they do lift the ban, Eric, I'll be there. Cannot wait. Please do not forget about me, Eric. Please. A lad sent me a very, very interesting question. I won't give his name because, well, his name is on the thing, so I may as well. Darren. It's Darren. And Darren says, well, Owen, I was watching Normal People with my mother and neither of us found it awkward watching all the sex scenes in the show. Why do people care so much? Good point. It's a tricky one. For those of you that haven't seen Normal People, it's a show about a lad who wears Gaelic football shorts around the school, starts dating the nerd of the school. They end up having a lot more in common than you'd expect, and it blossoms from there. Starts off with a nice bit of rambunctious kissing and moves to full frontal nudity, the full lot on show. And I guess what you're saying there, Darren, is you must have watched a couple of those scenes with your mother and you just both happened to be at the television and the show happened to be on and whatever else happened. Yes, I'm with you on that one now. I will say to you though, you have a very open-minded mother, which is great. Brilliant. That's excellent. If you can stay at home and watch a TV show with your mother or father and there's a sex scene on it and it doesn't bother either of you, brilliant. That's great. But I suppose what I'll say is, in my time, and this is going back to the 90s, if I ever seen a sex scene on TV and my parents were in the room, I had to leave. I had to get out of there. There was too much pressure because they weren't leaving. Mum and Dad were going nowhere. And who's going to win, the child or the couple? So I got out of there, left them to their own show. And that was enough for me. Stayed well clear of them the next day too. But I made it weird by leaving the room because that means I'm not comfortable looking at people having sex. Now, is there anything wrong with sex? No. Is there anything wrong watching people having sex? I would say no. I would say definitely no. And if it is, if And if it is wrong, put me in prison with every single one else. Let's get the prisons packed up full of people that watch porn, because everyone does. Everyone does. And the people that you think don't, they're the worst. They're the ones that watch the filth. They're the ones that keep the filth going. So I shouldn't have left the room. I should have been able to watch it. It wasn't even that much nudity. It was Emmerdale and there was hands and everything going different places. I didn't want to see it. The Dingles were getting involved as usual. But if you can sit there with your mother while there's a sex scene on, and it's quite graphic, that show, Normal People. It's a good show though, you know. I used to be thinking, yeah, no, it's too soft. It's a good show because the lady in the show pops open the bonnet to reveal a very vulnerable man. You know, like he's all tough. He plays GAA. He wears small shorts. He's got strong legs. I'll give him that. But at the beginning, he just couldn't get himself across. But she brought the best out of him. She popped open the bonnet and had a look inside. And that is what nearly made me cry in the last episode. But would I watch that show with my mother? No, not a chance. Not a chance would I let my mother watch that show. Because, you know, call me naive all you want, but my mother's only had sex once, and that was to have me. And that was plenty, she said. You see, back in my day we had Catholic guilt, and you'd always be worried that God would be watching you. If you're watching pornography, God was standing behind you going, you better change over. So we were always worried that something was going to happen. Our parents were going to find out. You felt bad for getting horny. You felt guilty. You felt like you were harming people. If there was any bit of flesh in the telly and you got turned on by it, you were in big trouble. Apparently there's a thing in Judaism, Jewish guilt. Except it's not with God, it's with your mother. That's what someone told me. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But my guilt, my Catholic guilt, came from God. The big man upstairs, looking down on me, watching me all the time. So no matter what I did, if I was walking down the road, if I was playing pool, if I was kissing a woman, God would be watching me, taking notes, adding it to the portfolio of badness. The first time I ever kissed a woman, I remember thinking, I hope this is not going against God. I hope he doesn't mind me doing a bit of shifting. And then nothing happened after, and I was like, okay, well, maybe he enjoyed that. Maybe he didn't mind it too much, you know. Maybe he thought to himself, you know what? I'll leave him this time. I don't know where that came from, the Catholic guilt. I don't know how it started. Maybe it was a way to control people, maybe. It was kind of like having a babysitter that was never there, but they were watching you. You had to be very careful. So if you got turned on, you were in big trouble. Doesn't seem to be as much as that now. I think people are more liberal. Like your man watching Normal People with the mother. Great. I like that. That's a good sign. That's a sign of the times. Now, you'd never let it get to the point where you're watching pornography with your mother. That'd be mental. I can't think of anyone I've ever met in my life, ever, that does that. But I'm sure there's people out there that do it. And I suppose if that works for you too, you know, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Times are changing. Traditions are changing. Hope you enjoyed bonfire night the other night too. Did you do a dance around the fire? Sing songs, hold hands? Kissing the neighbours? Having a drink? St. John's Eve, but burning away at the bad times. The welcoming in of the good times. Jumping over the fire to banish your sins. But don't fall into the fire, because you'll only get burnt. Then take the ashes back to your own fields and scatter them across the acres of land you have. In the hope that you'll get a good feast of crops the following season. It's time to go. I bid you a fond farewell and I hope to see you very soon. And if you don't mind, could you rate and review this podcast? Apparently it helps get me up the charts closer to Uncle Joe. See you next Thursday, folks. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thanks very much. Get in touch any day, any time, whenever you want. I'm waiting to hear your beautiful messages. Thank you very much for the messages this week. All the other information will be in the bio there. And enjoy the weekend. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye. All right. Cheers. Bye-bye. See you soon. Bye. Oh, you dead? Can I talk to you for a second? What do you want? I just want to talk to you for like 2 seconds. What do you want? No, I wouldn't mind just having a little conversation with you just to, man to man. What do you want? I just want to talk to you, Dad. Man to son, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Can we go outside? Can we go for a walk? Can we go for a talk? Right. But you'll drive. No, we'll go for a walk. No more walking. You drive, you talk. I sit there. You can cart me around the place, but I won't talk. Right, okay, let's go. So what's this problem you have? Oh no, I never said it was a problem. It was just that. What's the door? Can you not get it up now? No, it's not. What are you talking about? What I'm trying to say is... Don't fucking say it, man. But you don't know what I'm going to say. I do know what you're going to say. I fucking know all too well. Don't fall for that trap. What trap? You were going to tell me that you loved me. Correct? Yeah. Right. Well, I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. Right? I have enough things to be worrying about. Now I hope and I pray you make me proud. I hope and I pray it. But if you don't, I will not hold it against you. I will not think worse of you. You're my child and I love you. You do whatever you want that makes you happy. That's the most important thing of all. That's the most important thing of all. Now don't make me tell you again. Now pull that car in there and drop me off at the pub. And don't talk shit to me again. Alright, see you in a few hours. Good luck. Bye.